Like I will
We
tell
are
anyone.
live. Welcome, guys, to episode 9 of the Superhero Hour. And with me and my usual fellow hosts, starting off with Charles. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. I'm interested in some of the news that we're going to be talking about tonight.
Oh, just some.
Some. There's
I'm
some.
glad.
There's others that I don't really care about, but some of it I am interested in.
I'm glad you are interested in some. And of course, the one and only Boored Buddha. What's up, Luke?
Good evening, folks. We're here after like a 3-week hiatus.
Is it 3 weeks? I thought it was 2 weeks.
It felt more like 2
It
weeks.
seems like 3.
Well, apologies, guys. Apologies. Well, we
I know it's the
still had a
holidays.
show.
That's a good thing.
We still had a show, technically. I mean, we
True.
had the Justice League chat, and we didn't really talk much about that. Anything else? But let's talk a few things. As I mentioned, there's Justice League. What happens next? Our own version. Everybody has done their own dissection of Justice League, left and right, chopped it off, and done all the things they wanted to do. Some Star Wars Episode 8 news, Punisher as well, and maybe some Runaways. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure Luke can fill me up on that. No, not yet. Not yet.
Well, there's stuff that's not in the notes.
Oh.
Judd Law is our Captain Marvel.
Oh, Jude Law. Yeah.
Or Jude Law, whatever the hell he pronounces his name. Damn, there was something else that now I can't remember. Oh well, it wasn't that important.
It will come back to you. All right, let's start off. Before we get into let's get into the news quickly because we can go through some of this news is old. In the movie side, Wonder Woman has moved up his release date to avoid any collision with the next Star Wars movie, which makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's moving up to November 1st. So it's a good time. Wonder Woman seems to be the only DCEU franchise that is being spared any kind of tarnish, so to speak. Sony is developing Morbius, the living vampire, from the writers of Power Rangers.
Yeah, but the thing I'm confused about that is it going to be its own thing or is it going to be connected to Spider-Man?
Well, so far we know that the Spider-Verse with Venom and all these other characters will be connected. Whether Spider-Man is connected or not, we don't know. There's no word right now. There is no word whatsoever.
Okay.
So we don't know till the Venom movie comes out. That's probably the first indication when we'll know.
Okay, well, it's just whenever Morbius comes out, I am hoping that it will be connected to that because I've always loved his interactions with Spider-Man.
Okay. All right, cool.
Back during the Spider-Man animated series, any arc that had to do with Morbius, I was like glued to the screen. I loved it.
All right.
Yeah, it was definitely. They need to go get with Kevin Feige and figure out a way to intertwine the characters into the same universe and just be done with it. This whole, they want to create this other universe. No, just try to keep it all intertwined. Just talk with Marvel and work out a plan where it just fits and it creates his rogue gallery. But then when he needs to get pulled away, he's with the Avengers doing something else. Just make it all work. These stupid these companies wanting to create all these effing universes is getting old.
Well, I mean, can you blame Sony though? Sony wants it's look, you got to capitalize on what you got. That's just pretty much what it is. Then Fox is also developing Multiple Man, Marvel film Multiple Man with James Franco, which I am not excited about. Now, if James Franco was just playing Multiple Man in a movie, sure, that's not a problem. But a Multiple Man movie with James Franco, that's too many James Francos on one scene. Just too many. So
Dev H. It's called notification bell on the page.
Dev, yeah, hit the notification bell. Just do it right now and you'll be notified every time we have a video. And then of course, Star Wars Episode 8 is basically tracking to make 200 million opening day. Opening weekend.
Opening day or opening weekend?
Opening weekend. Sorry about that. I said opening day.
I mean, if there's a movie that could pull it, it might be Star Wars. That's going to be some miracle.
And with, I'm thinking, and Lou and I were talking earlier, we're like, it's probably going to go to about 220, I'm thinking. also. So I'll say, hey, we'll see. It should be good. My only hope.
You're going with 220.
I'm going with about.
I'm going higher.
What, 250?
I think it's going to be very close to The Force Awakens or just under.
Force Awakens was what, 225, right?
Force Awakens was 240.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was in the almost 240, I believe.
I say this would be 220, and then the last movie will be will be much higher. The second movie never opens as high as the first, but it will be close. I think it will be close.
But the reason why I think this one opens higher because of the fact that you get Luke talking in the very first 2 seconds of the movie.
Well, I think also because, I mean,
everybody's going to come just to see that and then see where this story goes and see what Rian Johnson does. Because obviously they loved him so much that they gave him free reins on the next trilogy to start off.
Which the new trilogy that Rian Johnson is going to be doing is rumored to take place during the Old Republic era. That's the rumor,
and I'll be fine with that.
Yeah,
well, so would I.
I'll be cool with that. I just hope that it is not like Episode 7, because I just to recap my experience with Episode 7. The first time I watched it with Sam. And we watched the movie, and about 10 minutes in, we started predicting the scenes because it reminded me of Episode 4 all over again. Mm-hmm. It was beat by beat. There was nothing. It was an enjoyable movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Star Wars. Not at all. I enjoyed that movie. I watched it again, but I felt like it was beat for beat, it
was. There were a lot of similarities with A New Hope.
Yeah,
there were a lot of similarities.
So that being said, hopefully Rian Johnson does something completely different here. So I'm glad to see that. All right, let's talk some Justice League. What next? I want to hear your thoughts. Now I want to start off with you, Charles, because I know Lou and I have also talked about this, here and there. So Charles, have you seen the movie?
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it once.
Okay, part of our discussion.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I was. It's been a while.
All right, but no, are you asking like what I think is next for the DCEU?
Yeah, as in, the movie hasn't done well. It's not going to make $1 billion.
No, not even close.
What do you think? It's doing well internationally. International audiences have more common sense. But what do you? It is so true, and I'll get to something that my buddy told me yesterday Saturday when I was driving back, from family Thanksgiving. But what do you think they need to do moving forward? We know they have Aquaman. We know Wonder Woman 2 is definitely going to happen. Mm-hmm. Suicide Squad may or may not happen. But Deathstroke is going to happen, especially with the kind of warm welcome that everybody got from audiences. We know that's going to happen. But what do you think they should do after Justice League?
They need to make up their mind with, are they going to stay dark and serious? Are they going to do more lightheartedness? I mean, they need to make up their mind and stick with Wonder Woman's tone. Look, I can understand that the tone that Wonder Woman had could work for most of their movies, but some movies need to be more lighthearted and some need to be more dark and serious. Like take the upcoming Batman trilogy. That needs to be more of a dark and serious tone, while let's say Shazam needs to be more lighthearted. But I would say most of the movies, including the next Wonder Woman movie, the next Justice League movie, possibly even Green Lantern, maybe not Flash, but Suicide Squad is a definite. They need to be a mix between dark and light tones.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is that most of their future movies need to have an equal amount of dark and light tones. While for their more like their standalone movies that where the heroes in those movies have more of a certain kind of like lightheartedness to them, have them more light, while the more dark heroes more dark tone. So from what I've seen so far, they're listening to the audience more than they should, where they think the audience says, oh, it needs to be more like Marvel, when in reality the DCEU does not need to be more like Marvel. They need to find their own style. They can't just copy somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lou?
I realize I talk too much on that. I apologize.
No. I mean, no. Good.
No, it ain't. It's, you know, my stance, like we just had in the Twitter discussion earlier. Fire all the morons that run the studio. Start fresh, and let the director do what they do, and that's it.
What are you
When
saying?
you
Like
start poking holes, look, Patty Jenkins got lucky.
Yes, she
They
did.
didn't mess with her much.
No.
So she was able to do the movie she wanted. Look at Man of Steel. Zack Snyder got lucky in that movie. They didn't poke holes in it. Now BVS comes along. What did they do? Chop this movie down to 2 hours and 30 minutes. And what did that do to the whole story? Janked it up. Because certain scenes were cut short, looked stupid, didn't make sense. Now comes Justice League. Again, you have the idiot who's in charge. Get this movie down to 2 hours.
Yeah, Justice League would have served better to be almost 3 hours long.
Now that's a question that we can answer. Maybe saying yes, we won't know because of the fact that they might never release that version of the movie.
Well, I saw somebody post something like that on Facebook, I think, where somebody was saying that the VFX artist said that there was not going to be a Snyder cut, and then somebody in the comments section said that Snyder's vision of the movie wasn't completed, so we will probably never get
Snyder's vision was completed. The problem is, did he get to edit that? The answer is no, because he left during the editing process.
Yeah, because of
Snyder's not coming back.
No, as far as we know, he's done.
Coming back.
As far as we know, he's done with the DCEU.
He's gone.
Yeah. So he's not done with the DCEU. He's
done. He ain't gonna have nothing. He'll be a producer.
Oh yeah. No, but he's not. No, the thing about it, he's not done as people think. He's not done because remember his hand is on Wonder Woman also. They will be, even though Patty is leading the story elements there, Snyder and his wife will be involved with that too. I agree with both your points. But there's one thing I want to bring up. I was having a discussion with my buddy. I was driving back and we talked about it. And we said, same thing, listen to the masses, and they basically said, we want a funny movie. So they tried to ham it up with this one. I remember watching the movie with Sam, and Sam was a little disappointed because he felt this was not the tone it should have been. He felt that, and here's the thing, it's like when the Flash was cracking the jokes because of a situation, it made sense. When you try to make the Flash just crack a joke without the situation, it doesn't. The other thing too with DC characters, and I was having this discussion on Twitter, not similar, but something close, with the writer from Joe Blow. And I was saying, look, I'm tired of Marvel movies cracking a lot of jokes because none of their movies have stakes. And, he was talking about what he considers his stakes in the movie. And I said, look, the only Marvel movie that had any stakes in it was Winter Soldier, as far as I'm concerned. And then even Doctor Strange, because there was something happening. Now, DC movies have a lot of stake. If you go through all the DCEU movies, when Man of Steel came out, it looked like nobody could defeat a Kryptonian, right? Those are stakes. BVS, you had stakes where Superman was going to die, and you already thought Batman was going crazy, right? And Doomsday killed Superman. Even Justice League, there were still a level of stake, not as high as the other ones. And Wonder Woman also had stakes as well. The problem I see with DCEU movies is also something with DC characters. When you make a change to Superman or Batman, people freak out. Completely freak out. Superman kills Zod. It's in the comic books, but because people don't know it, they freak out. My very good buddy, Mr. Juan Bagnell, complains about that. I'm like, he killed Zod in the comic books. I don't care. It's there. Also, again, they set the situation where he had very few options.
Okay, here we go. What do you think happened to Zod and his crew in Superman 2?
I mean, they were killed, but you know, hey,
They were killed, but you might not see him breaking necks and but they fell into a hole and never came back. That means they're dead.
They fell into a hole depowered, by the way. They didn't have powers at that point. So that was that. You know, they make changes to that. They made changes. Wonder Woman escaped because Wonder Woman hasn't had a big presence. But now that she has a presence, try and change that. Marvel has benefited, and this is just the truth. They benefit that none of their characters, except Spider-Man, is known to the general public. So people will go and watch Captain Marvel and be excited and enjoy it, but not know that they've messed up a character. So for instance, I've said it here, Thor Ragnarok is a fantastically funny movie. It's not really a good Thor movie in my mind.
No, I mean, even though I did enjoy Thor Ragnarok, I would say Thor: The Dark World was slightly better because it was darker. It was a more darker tone. Because
and that's the thing. But not trying to bring Marvel. I'm just saying that's what Marvel has. Marvel's benefiting from that. And to your point, Charles, DC needs to. The problem here was DC didn't stick to Snyder's vision and just finish it.
No, they should have stuck with this vision.
To me, if they were going to do a change, they should have either fired Snyder from Justice League, hired somebody else, rewritten the script, and started shooting later and have Justice League come out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other half is they need to stop stepping on their own toes. You hired Jeff Johns to do a position. Jeff Johns and John Berg. John Berg basically handles all the production. Jeff Johns' job is to say yes, no, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in and then you now give a separate mandate to say, no, editing has to be this. You're always going to fall into issues.
No, it's Tyrion.
Yeah, what's up, Tyrion? You're always going to fall into issues. And that's what you get here, where when you watch it, and you know, a lot of people have said a lot of things, for instance, not even a lot of things. It's very simple. There's so many people who have videos up there on the web showing you all the deleted scenes from the trailers. Not stuff that is we kind of know is there or is not there, but straight from the trailers. And there's a lot. There's a lot of scenes that are missing. We've seen the leaks from the VFX guys, and I've watched them. I can't share them with you, but shows a lot more of one character, Cyborg, right? But that ties into the story of the mother box itself. So for all the people who complained about the villain had no backstory, and to a large degree, he really didn't. This backstory was there, but it was taken out. You know, even that scene that we get in the last trailer, no Kryptonians, no
lanterns,
no protectors. This world is right for the taking. That was Steppenwolf talking to the mother box, who in this case is his, well, DC Themes mother, right? But that shows exactly, because he was trying, the whole idea, because remember, there was a statement that came out that said he is trying to fight his way back and either be in good graces with Darkseid or to overthrow Darkseid. So all that story element was cut off. DC needs, Warner Brothers needs to realize that you can't mess with the sauce. When someone's cooking in the kitchen, you can say, hey, you want to try this and try that? Don't tell them you must try this and try that, because you're going to basically just wreck the whole thing. Now they have Aquaman coming out next year. Leave James Wan to do his thing. He's proven to you, at least with the stuff he's done, right, that he can handle a movie. And then your next decision is, what do you film next year? We know Shazam is going to start production. We know Wonder Woman is going to start production. And we have Suicide Squad there. My thing is this. I say you keep Suicide Squad on the back burner for a little bit, or you take Suicide Squad and you start thinking of your Injustice movie, right? Or Injustice Society, Injustice League. And you now start thinking about that from there. You can take some people from Suicide Squad, it doesn't matter, right? Because they fit villains for other superheroes, and you mix them in. And you make your Superman movie, Man of Steel 2 or Superman. Henry Cavill has one more movie left on his contract. You might as well start doing that. And allow the director jump in. them do what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that makes most sense. And I think they will get the movies they want. They need to just realize that, look, we're going to be serious. If we're going to be serious with some jokes, fine. But let's not try and overdo it. Let's not try and make it feel like it's a Marvel movie. I mean, the thing is this. I saw, and I'm not trying to diss Marvel, anybody who's a Marvel fan. I saw the EW spread for the whole Marvel Universe photo shoot for Infinity War. And I looked at all those guys and I said, the Justice League will beat everybody up. Not just as a comic book fan, as a pure fan, I was like, DC made it feel like these were superheroes. I always look at the Marvel guys as being guys in costumes. That's just me. I don't feel and you know, Lou is probably going to comment soon. You know, power levels is my thing. And Marvel just doesn't do power levels well. But they do a lot of things right for the universe. And
the problem is here, look. Marvel was catered to kid-friendly and bring your family. DC came out the gate with Man of Steel being not so kid-friendly. So they should have just stayed with that. You can't make $1 billion? Well, then shoot for the high 800 millions. Go from there.
And then keep your budget tight.
Those clowns don't know how to run a studio.
I mean, look, the way it seems, like I said, I told you, Lou, I said Kevin Shujihara most likely he will lose his job, or if the AT&T merger happens, he's going to go. I think if the AT&T merger happens, AT&T will probably go Jeff Johns. They might spin out that studio and say this is DC Entertainment, and Jeff, you handle that, and then keep. I mean, it's still going to be part of Warner Brothers, but it's just so that they can produce more. Because if I'm AT&T, right, that streaming service of DC streaming service, they want that to work, and they want the movies to work because they know that's constant cash cow. AT&T is the like problem in that mindset.
I understand they're probably waiting on this merger and all this and that, but screw the merger. Someone should have been fired already. You're costing me $300 million that I'm probably not going to get because of the crap that you just pulled with this movie. There should have been some warning after BVS saying, don't you meddle. Let these movies do what they do. We're going to get our money regardless in ticket sales and merchandising and home rental when it gets there. All this meddling, you're costing your shareholders money instead of making them money. Those shareholders should have already gone to the boardroom and said, Donkey, you're fired. You Donkey, you're fired. Jeff Johns, you're in control of this part. You control the story narrative, and from this day forward, we build upon what you have done.
I mean, I'll put it this way. This is the writing on the wall that nobody sees. So DC hired, I forgot the Marvel writer, very big Marvel writer. He was like, whoa, you know, just like 2 weeks ago or something like that, right? That he's now writing exclusively for DC. The reason they was hired, to me, pointed out one thing. Everybody was like, oh, this is big, this is big. It's because the person who used to do all the story world building for DC is Jeff Johns. He no longer can do it for the comic books. He's too busy, right? So they hired that guy, but it also tells me it means that Jeff Johns is now moving to that role where it's, and also that same week or the week before, it says Jeff Johns is no longer answering to the head of Warner Brothers Films. He's handing to the head of Warner Brothers in general. So Jeff Johns no longer has that second tier cut in between. And like I said, you know, we'll see what shareholders think. But in terms of if that AT&T merger goes, AT&T is going to probably elevate the DCU to a higher position where it's a different studio. Just like basically you have Warner Bros., DCU, New Line Studios, all owned by AT&T. And AT&T can now say, okay, look, we have our streaming service. We want that to do well. We have our movies. We want that to do well. You can do whatever you want to. To me, what I think Jeff Johns should do is Jeff Johns should open the book of Crisis and show people what comic book movies really are, and just say, you know what, to hell with it. We are going to, you know, I mean, if he wants to revamp the universe, fine, go ahead and revamp it, but write a storyline that looks like a comic book storyline that says, okay, things have changed because of this great event, and the great event starts small, and you can do it that way.
Michael Bendis.
And you can who? Oh, the
Brian Michael Bendis,
the Marvel writer.
I believe so. I think that's who they hired on.
Yeah. So yeah, I say just allow free reins and let that happen and let it be interesting.
I got a question here.
Yeah.
Instead of getting idiots like Chris Terrio to write a comic book movie, why don't you get the people who actually write comic book movies to write a freaking movie? You're telling me they can't write a comic book movie? I translate those words to the big screen.
I personally disagree. No, it is not easy writing a script. And to me, I like Chris Terrier's writing. I loved BVS. I loved it.
Honestly, either certain writers should stick to their forte. He's an Oscar award-winning writer for stupid, boring-ass movies. Don't bring an idiot like him to write a comic book movie when he's probably never read any of the source material to begin with. And he doesn't understand them. The only thing that Snyder and crew have gotten on point is the power levels. They've made their characters strong. Like you said, power levels is key.
I disagree. I disagree. Besides power levels,
Lou,
I mean, they've got the casting right. Even the story.
The casting was great too.
The story elements. The reason why I say that is because, I mean, maybe it's just me. I am not, and again, everybody has their preferences, right? I am someone who likes in-depth story without you telling me it's in-depth, which is the problem I have with a lot of film nowadays, is because when you watch a movie, everybody spells it out. And I'll give an example. The scene where Diana in BVS walks up to that sword, right? And that guy says, this is sort of Alexander, something, I can't remember who he was. And, and she's like, I know who it is. And then Batman comes and he tells her, and he's like, oh, no, the real one's not there. There's a shot in between where you see, what do you call it again? You see Wonder Woman and you see the reflection of Bruce there briefly. And he says, this is the sort of somebody that, and basically the person you mentioned, that's why I say I like it, because it's double meaning. That's me. The person they're referring to in the sword was a great person who went into madness. And then reflection is Bruce Wayne. And basically it's referring that is Bruce Wayne going into madness. And then somebody put it on Vero.
Now, if you're coming with double meaning, then there's a shot in the beginning of Justice League where the homeless guy is showing
I tried.
Yeah. That's Joss Whedon saying, and probably Zack Snyder, they both coerced it together, saying, look, we tried, but these donkeys that so-called run this effing universe screwed it up again.
No, look, that's why I like those movies, because when I watch it, people complained about Lex Luthor and Lex Luthor's speech in a party a lot. Even Schnepp, Mr. Big Sweaty. It's like, oh, that was just nonsense, this and that. And I was like, to me, because people don't listen, and I'm not trying to diss anyone. I'm not trying to diss Schnepp. I'm just saying that when you listen about what he's talking about the gods, he's talking about man, he's talking about Superman. That's all he was talking about. And then Wonder Woman looked at it as just him talking about the gods. I'm like, that is a scene where, that's why I love it. I call it great writing, because it is very intellectual. Granted, maybe audiences just can't handle it anymore. But remember, the funny thing is audiences could handle intellectual writing. All the Batman movies from Christopher Nolan were intellectual. And then we just got dumb in between.
To that point right there, E, who was in charge of WB when Nolan did his movies? Was it Suji Dada?
Sujihara.
Or was it someone else?
No, it was someone else.
Okay, there's the answer to that question. So ever since that donkey took over, the comic book movies have suffered.
I mean, that's the thing. And Man of Steel was done in the in-between era, in between the last CEO. Nolan was the one who gave the go-ahead, and then Man of Steel was made and Sujihara took over. And Sugihara was known to. The funny thing is Sugihara is not behaving like himself, and I think there's a lot of fear that's acted in it because he was known to be a very director guy, not to mess with directors, and he's come in and mess with directors.
He's messing only with the directors that do comic book movies.
Yeah, because that's the breadwinner. I think that's where his fear is coming from. But I mean, we'll see how it pans out.
And Izzy, look at Lex and Smallville's portrayal of Lex Luthor. That Lex had daddy issues as well.
Lex always
this one didn't have him as. So just quit it. Doomsday did not suck.
Lex had. The look of Doomsday.
The adaptation of it was yeah, but quit with your bullshit.
Isaiah. I mean, look, Lex having daddy issues is who Lex is. The thing about it, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people, again, a lot of people surface don't know the characters as much as they do. But because it's DC characters, they claim to know it as much. And when they see something different, they don't get it. Or when they see a portrayal that doesn't match what they feel like, then they don't. It's like The Flash. I mean, to the point where people are like, I don't know if this Flash is going to be great or not. And I'm sitting down going, this Flash in the TV show is actually the worst version of the Flash. He's good, but to me, it's the worst version of the Flash that extends away from the comic books. So it is interesting. Now, I've seen the movie 3 times, Justice League.
Congratulations.
Third time was with my cousins, and it was hilarious watching with my cousins for them because of one thing. So the oldest cousin sat down next to me on my left, and after the movie was done, she looked at me. She's like, "So why does this movie suck? Because they said it sucked, but I enjoyed it, and I don't know why it sucks." I was like, "Nah."
Because critics are donkeys. They don't know donkey crap, and I'm keeping it clean for you folks.
He's gonna use the word donkey.
Donkeys just need to shut the hell up. And the CG dude. The average consumer didn't realize that there was CGI on the mustache.
I would give you that too. So my cousins all watched it. None of them realized about the CG mustache. And the funny thing is, when I watched it again this time, the third time, the CG mustache didn't even look except the very beginning one, the one at the very beginning with Superman. That was probably the worst one. But everything else, I was like, it's weird. The CG mustache doesn't look that serious anymore. So
honestly, dude, I didn't know that was the thing. He looked kind of cheesy with the grin on his face, but I thought that was just the way he had that smile. The smile itself to me looked cheesy. It wasn't because he was CGI mustache removal. It just is what it is. It's just the studio is so freaking stupid.
So Isaiah, you said Lex issues with Superman was BS. That's not true. Actually, Isaiah, if you want to go read Lex Luthor Man of Steel, that is a good catalog of why Lex is very obsessed with Superman. Now, it's literally part of that storyline is in BVS in some form or fashion. Lex is very obsessed with Superman. And yeah, I mean,
he was obsessed with Superman in the Donner universe.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Just because you had Gene Hackman playing him?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, it's one of the, I understand, Isaiah, you're trying to troll. It's fine. It's cool.
No, he's not trying to troll. These same things here, he's had them in our chats.
No, I know.
That's
why I call it trolling, because he doesn't understand. If you understood it, you understand that that's not the case, and Superman wasn't emo. Emo is Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. Superman just was tired in BVS. He was like, I'm tired of people just stressing me out. Or else I can kill them, but I won't. Emo is Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 was pathetic. When
that was emo.
The John Travolta strut down the street. God, don't bring up that disgrace of a Spider-Man movie.
Anyway, I forgot to add the TV news. I was going to add the TV news at the end. What happened to it? Where did I put it?
Well, since we're still on movie, it was announced that the Avengers 4 movie closes that chapter. Characters will die.
Oh,
the question is,
finally.
Who? And he said he has the next 20 movies lined up coming down the pipe.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad characters would die because I'm tired of every single Marvel character being alive, and I'm
Well, you
tired.
know that a lot of them is contracts, and they probably don't want to renew them. So, what's
Yeah,
the best thing to do?
kill them off.
Go in another direction. Kill them off.
So we'll see. In terms of TV news, which is updating right now, so it should be there for you guys to see and follow through if you want to. Lord of the Rings TV show is officially coming to Amazon, but here's a little caveat for you. So it seemed, I mean, some people said it was the prequel, which actually I think will be Cimarron, which is J.R. Tolkien's first and last book. So he started that before he did Lord of the Rings. And then he did Lord of the Rings, and then his son, and I believe another writer, helped finish Cimarron. Cimarron is a very interesting book because it is dense. I tried reading Cimarron, and it is hard to read. It's a very hard book to read, but there were a lot of cool things in Cimarron. There was basically, you see the king before Sauron, like Sauron's boss, and how elves came down to Middle Earth, and the elves were really powerful. I mean, like what you saw in Lord of the Rings was small fry compared to like what you would get in Cimarron. It's just that Cimarron as a book was very, very dense. So I think they can get a lot out, and I think they can get away with Cimarron because they don't have to. It's so dense, you don't have to, like make it close to the book. You can make it more like Lord of the Rings and just take elements out of Cimarron to make it. So if it's based off Cimarron, I'm all for it because that is like 1,000 years or so before Lord of the Rings. Even more.
But the good thing about it is they got greenlit for 2 seasons off rip.
Mm-hmm.
So they could film everything and tell their story and hope that it gets a 3rd season.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know why?
And they're dumping money into it as well.
Oh yeah, you know where the money's coming from?
Oh,
Black Friday sales, baby. Amazon basically cleaned off. They made how many $1 billion in 5 hours? I can't remember the number. But what's his name? Jeff Bezos became the richest man in the world. He jumped from number 5 to number 1 at $100 billion in value. All because of 5 hours.
Isaiah, you underestimate the power of the Lord of the Rings franchise. It will get views.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, as long as it's
don't sit there and keep saying mainstream viewers. Mainstream viewers are not is what this is attracting. This is going to attract its fan base and then some.
No, it's
Remember,
not even just that.
Word of mouth is what carry TV shows.
Sure. Word of mouth is what carries TV. You're definitely right, but it's not just that though. It's the fact that if it's a well-produced, think about Game of Thrones. No, but I didn't know about Game of Thrones. I knew my god sister was reading the book because she mentioned it, but I had no clue what it was. I knew Sam read it. That's it. But me, I was basically part of those people who were like, no, most people didn't know Game of Thrones. And then the first season came out and the show was well done. Thing about TV is this. Same thing with Walking Dead. Remember, Walking Dead is a comic book.
Oh,
not just
please
a comic.
Don't get me started on that donkey show there.
Stop,
Lou. Oh, did they F up?
Lou.
Bring in Morgan to Fear the Walking Dead? Why?
Lou.
Stupidness. Now that is what you call a cash grab, and mainstream folks are stupid.
Lou. Now, okay, now at this point, this is where we get Charles back into the discussion. Charles.
Yes.
Now that
Lord of the Rings TV
Lou,
show.
Lou, you're gonna time out. No talking for at least.
Okay. Well, look, when it comes to Lord of the Rings, I can only speak for what I've seen from the movies, and that's it. I've never read the books. I never read any of J.R.R. Tolkien's other books. I never even heard of the book that E mentioned, his first and last book. I never heard of that one, but I don't know. I'm excited for the Lord of the Rings TV show on Amazon. And if it takes place before Sauron became a problem, that would be fascinating to me. Like sort of like his rise to infamy kind of thing. That sounds interesting to me. So I am definitely going to check it out, even though I don't usually watch Amazon shows.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the case, right? Amazon wants you to watch Amazon shows now, so you think about it, right? This is a good ploy to get you there. And,
oh no, yeah, I definitely, because I mean, I do agree with Lou. Is that when it comes to Lord of the Rings, it's not just going to attract the mainstream audience; it's going to attract everybody. Because I mean, Lord of the Rings, maybe not The Hobbit, and I'm talking about the movies, not the books, but when it comes for the Lord of the Rings movies, is on par with the original Star Wars trilogy, if not better. And it's going to bring in people from all shapes of life. And so my estimate is that the Lord of the Rings TV show on Amazon is going to be Amazon's most successful show. That's what I'm anticipating.
And honestly, most of those sets are already built that they could probably still use.
Mm.
You know they're going to be filming in New Zealand and stuff.
Well, that I'm not sure about. I'm not, because I mean, it all comes down to like how much is it going to cost? The location permits, all that stuff. Is Amazon willing to deal with that? I mean,
Amazon is putting money into this. Yeah, and then there's also tax breaks, but also if you're going to do Lord of the Rings and you want to keep the same aesthetic, Weta, which is the special effects company that handled that, and they do a lot.
Peter Jackson's company.
They do a lot of stuff with Warner Brothers. They are based out in Australia or New Zealand, I think, if I'm mistaken. So,
well, here's a question for you: is Peter Jackson going to be involved with the show?
I think he needs to be in some form of capacity.
Producer, man, just keeping as a producer is cool. That's fine, you know.
Well, I'm not.
I wouldn't be shocked if he directed the pilot.
I mean, it's fine. You could probably throw that out there so that he can do a pilot. That brings people in, right? That also brings that extra attention to it. So that makes a lot of sense. But I think you need some fresh blood. You know, the reason I say that is even though take a movie, even though it didn't do well financially, but it is 150 times better than the original Blade Runner 2049. You need fresh blood sometimes. Sometimes you need something new.
Yeah, but the thing is that fresh blood is risky because they could end up picking the wrong guy and they could take it into a different direction that would underdeliver or straight up fail.
Not in a TV show, though, in terms of directing, because it's usually TV shows are handled by showrunners. Mm-hmm. So just like The Flash, right? Greg Berlanti basically handles everything that handles in CW TV shows. Mm-hmm. He's the one. And there's going to be somebody else for the DC EU network, right? Or whatever it's called, DC Entertainment Network. So it's all about the showrunners, whoever is running because think about it, right? You saw the change in showrunners in the Marvel universe, where we are like, who is the showrunner? Who's handling what's his name again? Iron Fist, you know? Like, who was the person who had those great ideas that Iron Fist needed to be like that? It's all about the showrunner because they're the ones who plot the path. Because basically, if you really think about it, a TV show like that is 7 movies. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a 7-movie span shot in 1 year. And to make it that good, which is why Game of Thrones, right? The showrunners in Game of Thrones are very important. Remember how they talked about, oh, we know what happened at the end. We've spent time with, JR sitting down. We've understand exactly where we're going with this. It's going to be different, but we end at the same place. So that's why it's more about the showrunners, and the directing is somebody who can give you the flair that you need. And with TV shows, this is where you get new talent and they showcase their talent and they move up. We can't always have the same old directors. We got to move on.
And the reason why I said Peter Jackson will most likely direct it, because he'll keep getting a check. As long as that series is on, he'll get a check for the rest of his life. When you direct a pilot, you're paid.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I like it. I like that idea. Hitman TV show from John Wick creators is coming to Hulu. I like it. I also like that too because it's the guys from John Wick, and we all know that thing is going to be some quality action packed. That's all I need.
Well, look, the John Wick movie is not the movie. If they do the Hitman movie the way they did the Runaways, like production wise, they have a hit.
Plus the John Wick action.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, with the Hitman TV show on Hulu, wouldn't that mean that they would have more restrictions in regards to the violence?
No. Hulu doesn't have an age rating. It's rated mature or not mature.
Okay. Well, then, all right. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to check it out, but it's a TV show based off of a video game, and TV shows based off video games have a slightly higher chance of succeeding than a movie. So I would say the TV show interests me more than the movies did.
I am interested.
And I'm glad. I'm kind of enjoying the fact that they're taking this route now. They've already tried with 2 movies. Granted, I've enjoyed both movies.
Doesn't change the fact that they were failures.
Yeah, but that's donkeys that don't understand nothing, and they want stuff to be extremely perfect, but donkeys can't get their way, and that's that.
Well, look,
go to the TV route, and let's just carry it on. You could build a good story, and you could probably do more elements like in the video game on the TV show because, hey,
yeah, I mean, you're going to have a very interesting landscape, and I think the next 3 years in TV are going to be very exciting. The reason I say that is because Disney's network is coming out, which means it's forcing Netflix to do more because Netflix is losing a bunch of stuff. Which means Netflix is going to start looking at some interesting shows to try and put up, covering every genre to put in there. Which also means Hulu, as we can now see, right, is trying to do their own thing to say, hey, we need shows that will spice it up and get people excited to watch. And then, I'm sure YouTube will join with YouTube TV. So everybody's going to have something. Star Trek
YouTube is late to the party.
No, I'm saying just shows. YouTube TV will have its own set of shows too that will be interesting. Star Trek, and then remember, don't forget Facebook. Facebook is throwing a lot of money in there too, and that's going to be easiest to watch because we're all on Facebook. So you just pop in and watch, but everybody's doing that, right?
Well, but see, now we have a problem.
What,
folks? Voice your opinions to keep net neutrality, because if we lose it, social media is going down the tube.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for bringing that up. That's because I was going to spend time. We're going to spend like half the show on Saturday on that. But net neutrality,
goody,
it's in dire straits because what Ajay Pai, the former, and granted, look, I've worked with Verizon before on their consumer products and all that. Some people will say, well, you say nice things of Verizon or this or that. Look, I will say nice things and I also call them out. To me, this is basically Verizon doing the same thing that Microsoft did to Nokia. They were able to drop their Trojan horse with Ajay Pai. Ajay Pai has come in and now is decided to break up the company. I mean, net neutrality. And from all the things we're seeing here is basically that they're trying to go to a model that they showcase. So about 3-4 years ago, Engadget posted this slideshow that was leaked from either AT&T, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the big companies that said they were going to show you how they can sell packaged data. You can buy data that's specifically just for social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram. Then you can buy data specifically just for streaming, your YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And everyone's like, that's not going to happen. And then net neutrality happened. That happened under the Obama administration, and that covered that. So we didn't have to go through it until now. There are parts in the world where those kind of data plans do exist. I've seen people share that on Twitter, and I haven't confirmed that it's fully true or it's exactly that. But that does happen, at least to a certain extent. Happening here in the US would mean innovation gets stifled, number one. Number two, all these TV shows that we are talking about here, from Lord of the Rings to HBO Go to Star Trek Discovery and more Star Trek stuff, that's just going to disappear. Like, you will now be forced to buy packages based on your usage. So if you're like me, who my data usage is not the average consumer, I am going to pay out of my nose. I am going to have to do something different, as opposed to somebody else who only tweets. Now, the company's selling point is always going to be, hey, well, you know what, we're trying to just, we're trying to meet up to consumers, you know, and what they want. And also, if you're going to use more, you pay more. Here's the little trick, funny part about the whole thing. In terms of internet data usage, right, and in terms of congestion and things like that, fiber optic cables have been laid down since the 70s around the planet. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to every country, but they've been laid around so you can access. Fiber optics has no bandwidth limits. Let's just call it what it is. There is no proper limit to, you know, because, you know, whenever you hear all those questions, you hear like scientists in UCLA were able to transfer the whole Congressional National Library from one distance to another in 1 hour. It's all fiber. It's just that, you know, they found better ways to do it. But the raw fiber optic cables are there. So which means these guys are not paying any more for the stuff they already laid down 70 years ago, and which was the Bell Corporation back then. So right now, they just want to maximize profits beyond belief. So I know somebody mentioned call your congressman, and Lou mentioned it. Definitely Isaiah, yeah, thank you. Definitely call your congressman. Let them know these guys need to show up, and you need to answer for the fact that they are trying to screw in. When you do this, you now screw innovation, which means that forget even the entertainment aspect of it. If I'm a small company, I have this great idea, but I need internet access for, I can't afford it because I'm starting out. That means I'm not going to do it. You know, I might look at priorities of my business and say, well, you know what, since I'm making money here and this thing that I think is a nice idea, but probably will make me money in the future, I can't afford to do it now, I shouldn't do it. And that's what this happens. This is going to affect your bottom line, your entertainment line. You know, don't fall into this trap. You know, something that happens in the UK, it's not net neutrality focused, but it's something that, you know, I used to joke with my buddy who used to live in the UK. In the UK, they have a TV tax. Every TV in your house, you pay a tax for that TV. I can't remember if it's monthly or yearly, but so if you have, I'm right, yeah, you have a tax for TV, not the sales tax, mind you, not a sales tax. There is a TV tax per TV in your household, and they've got new, excuse me, they've got new ways.
So if you have 4 TVs in your house, you're paying taxes on those TVs in your house. They could kiss my donkey, you know what?
You don't live there, that's why. But I used to say, I was like, that would never happen in America. Americans would complain about it. And my buddy then was like, you never know. And technically, that's exactly what's happening now. Not the same thing, but the same concept. Now they're trying to technically tax us on the internet. The internet was built on the principles that it should be free. And, you know, you can pay for access, but the internet itself should be free. Now they're trying to stifle that completely altogether. So
look, this topic here is bringing out some stuff that, you know, we need to just go to another direction.
Yeah, we definitely should. But yeah, definitely call your congressman and point that out. My own thing is this is what I'm going to tell any of the big companies who are, you know, in the ISP space. If you want to make lots of money, and if, say, this ever passes, if you're a big internet provider, I'm calling you Comcast because Verizon guys out there. How about you offer a service that is opposite to what Verizon offers? Free access for all, no limitations, none of that crap. And you'll probably get customers and you'll be number one and they'll have to change. Just putting it out there. Anyway, guys, yeah, BBC TV license is yearly license, covers the address, not the TV. Okay, thank you very much, Paul. I apologize. I thought it was per TV. But thank you for clarifying. But even still, though, TV license is annoying to pay that. So, a question on that, Paul: is the license, is this scalable, or is it just one flat license fee? So it doesn't matter. Like everybody pays $10 a year for BBC license, or is it if you is it location or things like that? Let me know. I'd just like to know that anyway. Any more comic book news before we wrap up? I know we are almost.
We haven't talked our shows.
Oh yeah. We don't have time for that.
Well, one thing that I guess we could say that would remind our audience is that tonight and tomorrow is the Crisis on Earth X crossover event.
Yes, definitely watch that. Quickly though, we've all seen the Punisher.
Talk Punisher.
No, I'm not. Have we all seen the Punisher?
Yes, we've all seen it.
Okay, so quick thoughts, just quick short thoughts on what you think of the Punisher. Let's start with you, Charles.
Okay, I'm going to say it, and I don't care what anybody has to say to criticize it. I would have to say Punisher is the best Marvel TV show on Netflix that we've gotten so far. It's better than Daredevil, and I think it is nothing short of a masterpiece.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very strong words there.
Yeah.
Lou, how about you?
I said that during our Justice League spoiler talk.
Okay.
It was hands down Marvel's best show on all TV. Even better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay. All right.
It's in its first season, and what they pulled in its first season, shows need to follow suit because the character building and the story element was just
wow. And to be honest, some of the people that I know, including Isaiah, have said that during the beginning of Punisher, it kind of dragged on for a bit. Not once in any episode did I notice that it was dragging on. It felt like it just flowed naturally. It didn't bother me. I was completely fine with its pacing.
Okay.
The pacing, I thought the pacing was good. What did you think, E?
I was straight trash. I'm just joking. I absolutely enjoyed it.
I believe that with Iron Fist.
Oh yeah. Is it the best
second half of Luke Cage?
Is it the best Marvel TV show? Yes. Is it Punisher Begins also? In a sense, kind of yes. The reason why I think this show worked out so well is because it had no superhero powers. Literally.
It was very grounded.
Yeah, it was very grounded.
Yeah.
And even though they changed the storyline of how Punisher came to be, this was very Punisher-esque. Doesn't matter what the exact backdrop of how he became the Punisher, but it was still the same vein of Punisher. But what I liked the most about it was it showed a side of warfare, which we sometimes get in certain movies, but to me, it's always painful to see military veterans who come back and your life changes, right? And we saw that from 4 different characters. We saw that from the Punisher. We saw that from his buddy, who was his main villain, right? Russo. We saw that from the black vet who lost his leg.
Curtis.
And we saw that from the crazy vet.
Lewis.
Lewis, yeah, thank you. So when we saw 4 people who went to war and came back disturbed in 4 different ways, you know. So
well, the thing that I noticed is that out of the 4 of them, I would say, compared to the others, Frank Castle was probably the most well-adjusted.
Curtis was the most well-adjusted.
Curtis was the most grounded.
He was the most grounded. All right, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. All right, well then, fine. It's just.
Even Buddy was more adjusted than Castle was closer to the crazy guy, except that he has a moral compass of right or wrong. It's just that when it's wrong, he's killing you. That's just the difference.
Well, yeah. But the thing is I guess I'm comparing him to Lewis because Lewis is the one who was reacting to his PTSD in a bad way.
Yeah.
But Frank Castle was. When it came to the military, he was the most. He was basically military through and through, and it just the whole experiences over there didn't really affect him. Not really. It's just he came over, and the only thing that mattered to him was his family. But with Lewis, everything went to shit. I'm sorry.
Everything with Lewis went down the toilet.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, the best adjusted was Curtis, and then Russo. Russo had his issues, but he also knew what he needed to do. Russo was an opportunist. Yeah, exactly. In the real world. And then on the 3rd level would be Frank Castle, and then finally you have Lewis, who is there. But I like that they showed the variety of what happens to people when you come back to war. Everybody's affected by PTSD in some way. Even Frank said himself, he's like, I have to pay for the sins of the fact that sometimes I wanted to be in the, in the trenches with my buddies than being at home, because that is what I know best. And that's how you cope. So I like that they showcased that. I love the fact that, man, when they were brutal, they did not even like I thought, they would do this quick camera turn away, because I turned away. I was like,
really?
Like, no, I mean, like, no, there was some deaths.
Come on.
No, it's not that. It's not that it was.
Weren't that gory.
It wasn't gory. No, see, that's the thing. That's why I liked it. It wasn't gory, but also that's the thing. There's a way he killed certain people that were like, guy, I think maybe 2 should have stopped. That's fine.
Oh, dude, yeah. I've had more violent deaths than Vikings.
Oh no, you see, no,
I agree.
You missed the point. So I get it, and it's not like I'm not watching. I'm saying that the Vikings. I also understand it's the Vikings. That's what they do.
Dude, I didn't turn my head away for nothing. I watched all those.
To me, this was Frank Castle in this world, like in New York, like right here, right?
Lou, in E's defense, I would have to say that not everybody is as accepting to that level of violence and gore. I mean,
dude, I love the way that Frank was beating the living hell out of him with the sledgehammer in episode 1.
Ooh, that actually kind of made me cringe a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm usually good when it comes to that level of violence. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome, and I just keep eating.
The reason why is that, like, I always do this mental calculation is that once you do that, right, the first time I hit the guy in the face in the hammer, I was like, that guy should be dead or out.
Oh yeah,
there's no way he's coming on. So that's why I said, like, this is the way I watch movies. I go like, so he's come. Oh, come on. I'm like, he's already dead in my mind. He's done. Because if I hit you with that sledgehammer, Lou, you are gone.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else I'm doing afterwards is now just pure hate at that point. So that's why I said, like, there's certain things. But, I mean, it was, like, again, like I said, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I agree with you guys. I think it's the best Netflix show. I think the problem with the other Netflix shows is that they need to find grounding. Daredevil knows how to ground, at least, so I'm fine with that. Luke Cage needs to just go back to season 1, episode 1 through 7. Actually, get grounded. Just need to get a better villain. Don't mess it up like you did the last time.
Luke Cage fell apart once Cottonmouth died.
Yeah. So basically, get Cottonmouth 2.0, whether it's him or any other villain that's kind of like, give that as your second season, and call it a day. But I definitely liked it. I think it was good.
Not to talk bad on Jessica Jones, but that whole season about rape and all this other crap. Oh, God, did that crap drag. And Iron Fist, well, we all know what was wrong with that show. It was just donkey trash.
And yes, so on that note, now we've talked Punisher. Stay tuned next week. We will be back. We'll talk about the crossover events, catch up on the other shows. Most likely we'll have an Infinity War trailer in between then as well. Oh, I just thought about it. I just realized we may not be able to have a show next week. I am traveling to Hawaii, so I'm not even sure.
What the hell? Oh, Hawaii. Ooh.
We
can do it Sunday.
It's a work thing.
Sunday?
I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Work in Hawaii. Hey, that's a good paid vacation work.
Yeah. And on that note, guys, subscribe, notification bell, and always enjoy entertainment.
Bye-bye.
Where's the end button?